What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. We hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you enjoyed the first day of free agency in the NFL. That's right, 2021 free agency is upon us. Monday, March 15th marked the opening of the NFL's legal tampering window, one of the truly most beautiful oxymorons that the NFL has come up with in its time. You know, this is the time, and I think that this should be said, that while free agency doesn't technically begin until Wednesday, this is when the big deals could happen. The bigger players, the bigger names, all that type of stuff. Things are agreed to, and look, the rules say that these players and these teams and these agents cannot talk until the tampering window opens on Monday. So rest assured, all of the people involved completely followed those orders and completely executed multi-million-dollar deals in a matter of minutes. But in all seriousness, while the Cowboys haven't really done anything to a supremely flashy degree, the Cowboys have, of course, already gotten on the board technically by re-signing Dak Prescott a week ago. I wish it had been a year ago. I'm all excited. I'm all flummoxed. But the Cowboys do have a lot of things that are encircling them, stories and things that we thought that you could be caught up on, things that you should be caught up on, because you are the best Dallas Cowboys fan in the world, and we at Blogging the Boys want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need so that you can move on happily in your day. Let's start, of course, with Andy Dalton, the Dallas Cowboys quarterback last season. One of the Dallas Cowboys quarterbacks last season has reportedly been receiving a lot of interest from around the NFL. Andy Dalton, as you will recall, last year was linked to teams like the Chicago Bears and the New York Jets. Both teams figure to have new quarterbacks this season. Now, Ian Rappaport did report on NFL Network on Monday that the Bears are in fact interested in Andy Dalton. ESPN's Jacina Anderson reported that Andy Dalton, the Cowboys would like to have him back if the money is right, and that really is, if the Cowboys made like tumblers or t-shirts or caps or whatever for free agency season, the slogan on it wouldn't be fight or 17 inches or whatever. It would literally be if the money is right. That is kind of their approach to free agency as a whole, which is the subject of much consternation, much frustration, whatever you want to call it. But Andy Dalton, it seems like, is going to be headed elsewhere for the 2021 season. Andy, of course, had over 2,000 yards for the Cowboys this past season, and I think was serviceable. And I think that we all thought when the Cowboys signed Andy Dalton, first of all, we thought that, man, this is going to be annoying because the Dak deal is not done yet at the time, and it was a very annoying subject. But we all thought that if Dak Prescott went down to injury, that the Cowboys would have a capable veteran backup in their stead, and ultimately Andy was serviceable. I mean, he started 9 games for the Cowboys. He won 4 of them. He kept them technically alive in the playoff hunt, and so, for all that, we are grateful. But what we might be the most grateful for, Andy, is if you go sign a big-time contract somewhere else, and if you go play a lot of football for that team so that we can get a compensatory pick next off season. The Cowboys, you will recall, have 4 compensatory picks, one in rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6 that they netted as a result of their decisions in free agency last year. Now, somebody else who might be netting them a compensatory pick, and I am kind of shocked to say this sentence, Cam Irving, the Dallas Cowboys swing tackle this past season. Look, I'm stunned by this, all right? And look, maybe you're stunned by this. In fact, I'm going to assume that you are stunned by this. The Carolina Panthers, who I'm actually a fan of what Matt Rule is doing. I think that they're on the right track, but they have made some questionable decisions, we'll call it, in the last year, so to speak. This may be chief among them. Needless to say, there is a Cam back in Carolina, not Newton, though. Cam Irving reportedly is headed to Carolina on a 2-year, $10 million deal. What? What are you doing, Panthers? Did you not watch him with the Dallas Cowboys this past season? This would have been like if Chaz Green had gotten paid by somebody, and look, it's saying something to say that the Chaz Green experiment was worse than the Cam Irving experiment. Now, the Cowboys are in the swing tackle business. We'll see what they do ultimately if they draft Rashawn Slater, if they draft Penei Sewell. But we've been talking about this for a few months now. The Cowboys do have, I'm not saying it's good depth, but they do have depth. Consider that they have both Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele, young players. I mean, Brandon Knight's only entering his 3rd season in the NFL. Terrence Steele just his 2nd. Both of them, through the process of a bit of a rough baptism into the National Football League way, got a lot of experience last year. And it's a kind of rare thing that you have young tackles who have experience starting at left tackle, nonetheless, for Brandon Knight. So, I mean, the Cowboys can kind of afford to let Brandon Knight go. Afford to let Cam Irving go, let alone for the fact that Cam Irving himself is not that great of a player. But this deal, the size of this deal specifically, should net the Dallas Cowboys compensatory pick next year. In fact, I mean, I don't know, maybe like a 5th round compensatory pick next year for Cam Irving. Who would have ever thought that that would have been possible? But the fact that it is very cool. So shout out to the Carolina Panthers, perhaps today's MVP. Moving on, other players that are moving on. Linebacker Joe Thomas, a very versatile player who the Dallas Cowboys picked up a few years ago from the Green Bay Packers. Funny how everything goes full circle. Joe Thomas is joining the Houston Texans, staying within the great state of Texas. The Texans have been rather busy this offseason. They've been signing a lot of different people, a lot of players that actually have Cowboys and Patriots connections, lots of former New Englanders, obviously Nick Caserio, chief among them, heading down to Houston. Joe Thomas, not the only former Cowboy to join the Texans. Malik Collins, and in fact, that was kind of a funny thing on Monday. All the, big-time reporters tweeted out, former Cowboys defensive tackle Malik Collins is joining the Houston Texans. He played for the Raiders last year. Don't disrespect the Raiders. Why do you think I wore, these colors? Just kidding. Go Spurs, go. Either way, Joe Thomas, look, is this a back-breaking loss for the Cowboys in free agency? No. However, the Dallas Cowboys have a precarious amount of depth at the linebacker position. And by precarious, I mean kind of none really whatsoever. And even if the Cowboys had depth, just from like a numerical standpoint, the depth that they serve behind is not that great when you consider that the Cowboys starting linebackers at the moment are Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch. We will see if the Cowboys pick up Vander Esch's 5th-year option, a value that is over $9 million that is fully guaranteed for the 2022 season, the 2018 first-round class, the first to have their 5th-year options fully guaranteed. Look, should the Cowboys have kept Joe Thomas? It would have been cool, but they're going to need linebacker depth one way or another, and they don't have it now that Joe Thomas is headed to H-Town. Let's talk about somebody who the Dallas Cowboys are interested in. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys, according to the Dallas Morning News, have some interest in former Atlanta Falcons safety Damontae Kazee. We've talked about Damontae several times here on the YouTube channel as the offseason has rolled on. Obviously has, connections to Dan Quinn. Obviously hasn't played a lot of football in the last couple of years. But before you trash this, I will say that this is at the very least, and I'm talking the bare minimum level here to be fair, the Cowboys trying. Now, look, the Cowboys need a free safety. There's no doubt about that. They need a strong safety. I love Donovan Wilson, but I'm not willing to put all of my eggs in those baskets. All right? This is, again, I mean, it is the bare minimum. Why is it the bare minimum, RJ? Well, because he knows Dan Quinn. Like, this is literally the equivalent of, hey, Dan, pull out your phone. And Dan pulls out his phone. All right, cool. What do you want to do with my phone? And they say, do you have any numbers for a free safety in your phone? He says, yeah, I know Damontae Kazee. And they said, call him up. See if he wants to play football for us. That's what this is. But again, it shows that they are trying. And I don't want to completely bag on this. Keanu Neal was also mentioned in one report, and we'll see what that ultimately yields to. Was not franchise tagged by the Atlanta Falcons. The Cowboys have to take not only the safety position, but the defense as a whole very seriously this offseason if they truly want to be competitors. Can they win the NFC East with this crap defense? Sure, but can they be legitimate Super Bowl contenders, especially with the way the Buccaneers are spending re-signing Shaq Barrett and everybody else, and the Patriots are spending trying to get back to the top of the mountain? No, you have to make moves. And think about this. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs found a way on Monday, all right? Now, they paid their quarterback. They moved salary cap space around. It's not the end-all, be-all when it comes to the salary cap situation for you to just say, well, we paid our quarterback, our hands are tied. No, your hands are loose. Get it going. But the Cowboys, look, they might be saying, hey, RJ, hey, Blog of the Boys, hey, all you beautiful people. Beautiful People, by the way, a really great song by Ed Sheeran. We got one, all right? You think we're just chilling, all right? Take a look at Noah Brown's Instagram page on Monday afternoon. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys wide receiver took to the gram, a.k.a. the IG, and, posted a photo with his teammates and himself in the tunnel at AT&T Stadium, the bowels of the stadium, as some people like to refer to it, with the caption, run it. I think this is back. I'm not great at this, but run it back and bet the house with the cowboy emoji. Type the word cowboy into your iPhone. That's the emoji that pops up. This kind of insinuated or implicated or what's the word I'm thinking? Intimated that Noah Brown was going to be returning to the Dallas Cowboys. He was a free agent, but that is now because Noah Brown is back. The 85 Hive lives. Noah Brown back with the Dallas Cowboys on a 1-year deal. The Dallas Cowboys also tendered Cedric Wilson. So their top 5 wide receivers, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, not going to put that finger up, CeeDee Lamb, Cedric Wilson, and Noah Brown are all back ready to roll for the 2021 season. The best wide receiver group in the NFL. Shout out to Noah Brown for returning. Had one of the greatest catches in college football history at the Ohio State University. So Noah Brown gets the Cowboys on the board. Now the next one, not gonna lie, this one hurt. All right, I'm gonna premise this. I'm gonna wipe the screen clear for a moment because this one hurt. This one hit me in the old corazon. All right, I don't even want to put the slide up. All right, because the moment I put the slide up, the moment it becomes real. All right, I don't want this to be real. I guess we have to, right? Maybe you fast forwarded through this. I don't know. That's how the magic of the internet works. But LP Ladouceur, ESPN, the first to report that the Dallas Cowboys will not be bringing him back for a 17th season. The GOAT. That's right. Put some respect on his name. LP Ladouceur has been snapping balls since dinosaurs roamed the earth, people. All right? He is, seriously, there's a legitimate argument to make, and this is a conversation for a different day, but this is an argument here, right here. This player right here, LP Ladouceur, for the Dallas Cowboys Ring of Honor. I'm totally serious. I am 100% serious. In 16 years, LP Ladouceur never had a snap that was remotely out of place. 3 years ago in Washington, in our nation's capital, a terrible call was instituted against LP Ladouceur, a snap infraction. Get the hell out of here with the snap infraction. Although the snap infraction led to a Brett Maher missed field goal, although that technically happened a lot of times, and that Brett Maher missed field goal, was kind of the final straw that spurned the Dallas Cowboys to trading for Amari Cooper. So even then, LP Ladouceur's, one flaw over 16 years is kind of the only reason that Amari Cooper is a member of the Dallas Cowboys in the here and now. So really, who's to blame? But LP Ladouceur apparently is not going to be returning to the Dallas Cowboys in 2021. Seriously, it is a huge bummer. LP Ladouceur is Canadian, in case you did not know this. Last year, set the new record for most NFL games played in by a Canadian-born player. So he is literally one of the greatest NFL players in NFL history, and certainly in his country's history. Now, if you want to play conspiracy theory, I got this sharp cap on, but if you want to put some tinfoil, hats on here, LP Ladouceur is 2 games away from tying Jason Witten's mark for most games played in all time in Dallas Cowboys franchise history. So, if he were to have played this season for the Dallas Cowboys, he would have set the new record. He would have played in more games than any Dallas Cowboy ever. Is it possible? Even 1% possible that the Dallas Cowboys said, whoa, Miss Lippy, that record's not going to fall. And look, I know what you're saying. That's crazy, RJ. Is it, though? Is it really crazy to think that the Dallas Cowboys would prioritize the legacy of a player whom they valued so much that they let him walk back into the locker room of a division champion who beat the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs in 2018 and just take his starting job back? All right? Now, the Dallas Cowboys have a huge, call it a reputation, of favoritism. That's just the honest truth here. All right, the Dallas Cowboys have a huge reputation of favoritism. We're in March. All right, this is March, and think about all the times that Jason Garrett, Jason Witten, Tony Romo, and DeMarco Murray went to Chapel Hill to watch Duke in North Carolina. Think about the times that Jason Garrett went and saw Bruce Springsteen with Tony Romo and Jason Witten. Think about the time that the Jones family went on vacation with the Romo family and the Witten family. And look, none of that's bad. They should all be allowed to vacation or enjoy the boss or go see college basketball games together. But, if you're trying to make that argument, it's a fairly easy one to make, that Jason Witten is a favorite son of the Dallas Cowboys, and that LP Ladouceur, as great and respected as he is within the Cowboys organization, threatened to take down perhaps the most impressive record that Jason Witten holds. Now, look, it's quite possible that none of that really matters, that the Cowboys just found it better to move on from LP Ladouceur because maybe he'd be retiring, right? And if that's the case, none of this conspiracy theory even holds up. Not so fast, my friend. According to ESPN and the Dallas Morning News, LP Ladouceur plans on playing in 2021, which kind of adds fuel to the fire. What's going on here? It's a little bit hard to understand here, this LP Ladouceur thing. I'm just saying. I'm just putting this stuff out for you and I to have a conversation. That's all we're doing. Having a conversation. Now, LP Ladouceur was the last active member of the Dallas Cowboys who played at Texas Stadium. You will recall, of course, Texas Stadium's final game, the 2008 season. He has obviously been one of the longest tenured Dallas Cowboys. Jason Witten also played at Texas Stadium to that point, but now that he is gone, the Dallas Cowboys only have players who have played at AT&T Stadium, Jerry World, Cowboy Stadium, whatever you want to call it. But the Dallas Cowboys are kind of, refuting my conspiracy theory argument because they have a new long snapper. Jake McQuaide is joining the Cowboys from the Los Angeles Rams, which means, yes, sirree, Bob, he has a history with special teams coordinator John Fossil, and he has a history snapping balls for Greg Zuerlein to kick all the way through the uprights. And so, look, you get a guy who's been to 2 Pro Bowls, who's been a long snapper for a decade. It's kind of hard to say, that aliens are coming and the conspiracy theories here against LP Ladouceur. I'm just saying, that's maybe this is a convenient way to get out of the LP Ladouceur thing, right? Because this is hard to argue with. The Cowboys bringing in a very established, long snapper, somebody who's done it at a high level, somebody who's done it for John Fossil, who has snapped not necessarily to Greg Zuerlein, but to, the holder for Greg Zuerlein. So the Dallas Cowboys have a new long snapper in Jake McQuaide. Don't hold it against him. It's not his fault, all right, if you are a fan of the GOAT, LP Ladouceur. But, it is a shame that the Dallas Cowboys are now without the longest tenured player that they have currently had on their roster for a long time. And I tell you what, NFL Network's Jane Slater had a tweet on Monday afternoon that said, don't expect anything big or splashy or whatever, because the Cowboys are going after, franchise leaders, good character, contributors in that capacity. If that's what you're going to do, then how are you going to get rid of LP Ladouceur? That's just something that, it was a rough end of the day for the Cowboys. But that was day one when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and their free agency moves, and we'll see what day 2 brings. And whatever it brings, whatever happens, that we are going to keep you covered, of course, at bloggingtheboys.com, your home for the latest and greatest in the world of America's team, and right here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? I know the Grammys were last night, but I'm up for a nomination next year. Subscribe right here to the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications so you know when we go live, because we do that all the time. We like to party, like to get down, like to have a good time, and make sure you also subscribe to the Blogging the Boys podcast network, where we have a variety of shows. We have a new show every single day, different people, different hosts, so that you get all the perspectives around the globe when it comes to your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. On Tuesday, we will have a new episode of the 750. I'll be there, so will 2-time Super Bowl champion Tony Casillas. You do not want to miss it. So, day 1, we did it. All right, let's see what day 2 brings. Obviously, Earl Thomas, that's just a joke. Just a joke. Good times. So, yeah, do me a favor and have the absolute best day of all time, and have the absolute best day of all time twice over. You know why? Because you deserve it. We'll see you next time.